Hey guys, welcome back to this video. This time, it's gonna be about Napoleon, right? So I don't know. Hopefully this one will be a bit longer than my usual content. So let's get right into it. So the Napoleonic era. It lasts from 1799 to 1815. So let's just get a quick background before we get into it, really. He was born on a little island called Corsica. It's really one of the main things that the tiny island is known for, but other than that, it's kind of just a rock owned by France. He was born in 1769. He had a decent education, and he favored republicanism. He was a military hero. So in 1793, right, he gets rid of the British forces from a port city called Toulon, and he does just a whole bunch of stuff. He's one of the most famous French people of all time, and potentially one of the greatest military leaders of all time. So after Toulon, he goes to Egypt, from 1798 to 1801, basically just to say, hey, screw you, Britain, you can't get to India anymore. So he just takes control of them. He brings some scientists, and some stuff happens. So in the Nile, though, there's a pretty interesting battlefield called the Battle of the Nile. On August 3rd of 1798, Britain's general, a guy named Horatio Nelson, defeats the French naval forces, and they get stranded in Egypt. So they were able to sneak back to Paris from the blockade. So they lose at the Nile. They have to retreat. So he comes back into France, 1799, and he takes control of the directory by a thing called the coup d'état. He set up a 3-man consulate with himself as first consul for life. That is, in 1802. In 1804, he's like, that's not enough. So he crowns himself emperor. It's almost as if the French Revolution doesn't happen. So he has popular votes done by ballots. Everyone votes for his policies, so it's a rigged election. He always has absolute power. He made a lot of reforms, so he controlled the prices, he encouraged the industrial growth of France and strengthened their infrastructure, and he creates nationally controlled public schools. He strengthens the national government and runs an efficient bureaucracy. He develops a thing called the Napoleonic Code, equality before law, religious tolerance, and he ends feudalism. But women's rights, no, he doesn't do women's rights. And he puts the church under government control. So in 1804 all the way to 1812, he gets a lot of good military success from his leadership skills and large armies and really good surprise tactics. He annexes tons of parts of Germany, Italy, Belgium, the Netherlands, and he absolutely crushes the Holy Roman Empire with the French-controlled Confederation of the Rhine. And he cuts off half of the Prussia to form the thing called the Grand Duchy of Warsaw, which is Poland, basically. And he places puppet rulers on conquered thrones. So he basically just puts his cousins and marshals and stuff like that as king. He forms alliances and he just does a whole bunch of stuff. And nationalism also rises with his success. Some other important things. His first wife, named Josephine, aided Napoleon with her interpersonal skills and political connections. She also cheated on him. The British opposition in 1805, France tries to invade Great Britain, but Horatio Nelson, the guy from the Nile actually, defeats him at the Battle of Trafalgar. And Napoleon strikes back with the continental system, which basically says, screw you, Britain, no one's trading with you anymore. But no one really listened because they all got reliable resources from Britain. So, in the decline later, Europeans, again, really don't like the continental system. So you end up with a thing called Peninsular War, which is in Spain and Portugal. It's basically France's version of Vietnam. It goes horribly. Things do not go well. They fight Austria. They basically end up fighting everyone. And he gets exiled to a tiny island called Elba, which is in the middle of the Mediterranean, off the coast of Tuscany, which is in Italy. And they basically make him the Emperor of Elba. Anyways, he leaves because he's allowed to do that. He comes back to France, and there's a big battle, a very famous battle called Waterloo. He's defeated, and he gets sent to St. Helena in the South Pacific. And he dies in 1821 at, in his 50s. He has a pretty large legacy, and he may or may not be the greatest military leader of all time. And, well, that's kind of Napoleon's life. His last words were France, Army, Josephine, and then he died. Some suspected he died of poisoning, but yeah. So there we go. There's Napoleon. Only reason I made this video is to capitalize off the movie that came out a couple months ago. Thanks for 24 subscribers on the last video, guys. Alright, see you.